Okay, so what we're going to look at this morning is the definition of ratios and rates, and then we're going to look at how we deal with ratios, all the different types of ratios that we need to simplify them. So if we have a ratio on this side and a rate on this side, does anyone know what the difference is?
Ratio is like simplifying things down to like 1 to 2, or this many to this many.
Yeah, that is what a ratio is, yeah. Oren?
A ratio is when you compare.
Very good, right. So, a ratio compares, okay, two or more of the same thing. Okay, the same thing. So ratios compare two or more of the same thing, the same amount of money, the same type of fraction, the same weight, for instance. A rate compares two different units of measurement, okay? So a rate would be when you are comparing, say, time with money. So I earn $50 per hour, okay? Or I run at 5 kilometres per hour. Or I sleep for 8 hours per night, okay? So rates compare two different things, and they tend to be things like time, money, okay, things like weight or mass, capacity. Who can think of one to do with capacity? Think about your car.
Towing something?
Yeah, so what would... Oh, you're talking about how much you're allowed to tow with a certain vehicle. Yeah, that's not what capacity means in this context. But yeah, I know what you mean.
The amount of litres to how far you can go.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, you use 30 litres per 200 kilometres or whatever. So, or you go to the petrol station and you pay $1.13 per litre. So the rate often has the word per in it, okay, or the /. So it would be things like kilometres per hour, like that. You can write it, or the / means that thing, okay? Ratios, though, they can be expressed in different ways. They can be expressed as a number like this, 2 to 3, with the colon. They could also be expressed as a fraction, like that, okay? And they can be expressed like this, 2 to 3, okay? So, give me an example of a ratio, then. Montana.
There was 2 to 3. There was 2 to 3 boys as well.
Yeah, there were 2 girls to 3 boys in the class. Very good, yeah. Or there were 2 cats to 2 dogs in the pet shop. Or there were 2 apples to 3 oranges in the fruit shop. Okay? Right, has everyone finished writing that down? So what we're going to look at now, though, is how we simplify different types of ratios. So there are quite a few different types that we need to go through. So we'll start with some simple ones, and I'll give you one example of each one, and then when we've finished, if you'd like me to explain any of the other ones, then we'll do that, but not while the video's going. Okay, so let's start with a simple ratio. So we'll start with something like 10 to 25. Okay, so put it in context, we could say there were 10 teachers to 25 students on the excursion. Okay. If we're going to simplify that, though, what do we need to look for in the two numbers? Because remember, that could be written like that. So what are we looking for, Noreen? The highest common factor, that's right. So again, you've learnt this before, so we're looking for the highest common factor, the HCF. So what is the highest common factor of 10 and 25? 5. So we divide both sides by 5. So it's 2 to 5. So that is the ratio in its simplest form. Okay? Now, I'm assuming that all of you will be able to do those ones that are simple because all you need to look for is the highest common factor. Next stage of kind of difficulty, it's not difficult, but there's something to think about, is if you've got something like 300 grams to 2 kilograms. Now, we're dealing with the same thing because both of them are to do with mass or weight. But what is the issue with this one? Well done. They're in different units, aren't they? So what do we need to do? Same as anything we get when we've got different units. What do we need to do? Louis?
Make it the same.
Make them the same, that's right. So we'll change it to 300 to 2,000. This is where you do need to know how many grams there are in a kilogram, how many metres there are in a kilometre, all that kind of thing. Okay? Now, once we've done that, we can simplify it. What's going to be the simplest way to simplify that?
Cross out.
Cancel the zeros, that's right. So we can cancel 2 zeros on both sides. Remember, if there's the same thing on both sides of the ratio, we can cancel. So our simplified ratio is 3 to 20. Okay? Right then, so say we've got a fifth to 2. And we've got to simplify that. Now, does anyone know how to do this? How do we do it? Jasmine?
You make it into a fraction by putting 2.
Good, yeah. You make that one into a fraction by making it 2 over 1. Okay, and then what do you do? Cross multiply. So we do 1 to 1 is 1, 5 to 2 is 10. Okay? And then if you need to simplify, you would simplify then. But obviously with this one you don't need to because it's in lowest terms already. So let's try one like 2/7 to 14. So we'll put 14 over 1.
And then 2 times.
2 times 1 is 2. What's 7 times 14? 98, well done. Okay, so 2 to 98 isn't in lowest terms, is it? So what do I need to do then? 1 to 49, that's right, 1 to 49. Very good. So that's a fraction to a whole number, okay? And obviously, if it's the other way round, the ratio, this number will be bigger than that one. In all of these so far, the first number is smaller than the other one, but it could just as easily be the opposite way round. And when you get a question, if it says, what's the ratio of cats to dogs, if they've given you, say, what's the simplified ratio of cats to dogs, but they've given it as dogs to cats, you have to be careful and make sure you swap it over. Okay, so the next one is a decimal to a whole number. So say we've got 0.7 to 3. Okay, so when we get something like this, what we've got to do is we've got to eliminate the decimal. We've got to make them both into whole numbers. So how are we going to eliminate that decimal?
By dividing it by 10.
Yeah, so you multiply both sides by 10. So it's going to be 7 to 30. And what about that? Is that simplest form?
Yes.
It is, isn't it? So we'd leave it like that. So let's try one like 0.06 to 3. So 0.06 to 3. What do we need to do this time, Matt?
You need to times it by 100.
Yes, you need to times both sides by 100. So it'll be 6 to 300. It's not simplest form, is it? What do we do then?
3 to 150.
You could do 3 to 150, that's right. Still not simplest form though, so... I mean,
1 to 50.
1 to 50, well done. 1 to 50. Okay, is everyone with me so far? Cool, right. So, what we're going to look at now then is what happens when you have two fractions. So this should all really be revision from last year, these ones. You should have met them all last year. The only thing with the decimal one is if one is, say, a tenth and one's a hundredth, you still have to multiply by 100. You just have to be really careful to make sure that you're keeping the proportion correct on both sides, okay? So if you multiply on one side by 10, you must multiply the other side by 10. It's just like when you do it with fractions that you have to treat them the same. So let's say we've got two fractions. We've got something like 2/7 to 3/8. So how are we going to simplify that? Going to cross multiply again, that's right. So 2 8s are 16, 7 3s are 21. So 2 8s are 16, 7 3s are 21. Can we do anything with that? Can we? Any common factors? No, no common factors, so we have to leave it like that. So let's just do one more like that. We'll see if we can get one that we have to simplify. 4/5 to 3/10. So cross multiply again. 4 10s are 40. 5 3s are 15. So we do need to simplify then, don't we? What will it be? 8 to 3. That's right. 8 to 3. Okay, so that's when you have two fractions. Now, when you have two decimals, what you have to do is you have to then either express it as a decimal to 1 or 1 to the decimal, or you can express it as a single decimal. So if you've got a number like this, you've got a 59. This is when you do need a calculator for this one. So 59.9 to 239.6. So what would you do?
Would you turn them into fractions?
You would turn it into a fraction, yeah. So it would be 59.9. Well, not really a fraction. You're turning it into a division sum. 59.9 to 239.6. So on your calculator, you would do 59.9 divided by 239.6 is 0.25. 0.25. So that means that as a single decimal, that ratio is 0.25, but as a unit ratio, as in something compared to 1, it's 0.25 to 1. What would we have to do with it then?
Would we turn it into 1/4 to 1?
Yes, you'd turn it into, well, you'd multiply them both by 100, yeah. So it'd be 25 to 100, which simplifies to 1 to 4. That's right. 1 to 4. All with me? Okay.
Do you need a set do that in fact 100 even though because
It depends what the question's asking you for. If it's saying simplify that ratio, you do need to do that bit. If it says express that ratio as a single decimal, you just need to do 0.25. So it depends on the question. Okay? So let's have a look at this one. So 6.5 to 19.5. We'll do that because I know that that will work. 19.5. If you do that on your calculator, 6.5 divided by 19.5, what does it come to?
0.333.
Yeah, 0.33333, which is what as a fraction?
0.333.
What's that as a fraction?
A 1/3.
A third. So yeah, so that's going to be 1 to 3, the ratio. But if it asked you to express it as a single decimal, you would express it as 0.33 and put your little dot on the top to show that it's recurring.